The Scarecrow and the Tin Woodman and the Lion now thanked the good witch earnestly for her kindness, and Dorothy exclaimed, "You are certainly as good as you are beautiful, but you have not yet told me how to get back to Kansas." "Your silver shoes will carry you over the desert," replied Glinda. "If you had known their power, you could have gone back to your Aunt Em the very first day you came to this country." "But then I should not have had my wonderful brains," cried the Scarecrow. "I might have passed my whole life in the farmer's cornfield." "And I should not have had my lovely heart," said the Tin Woodman. "I might have stood and rusted in the forest to the end of the world." "And I should have lived a coward forever," declared the Lion, "and no beast in all the forest would have had a good word to say to me." "This is all true," said Dorothy, "and I am glad I was of use to these good friends. But now that each of them has what he had most desired, and each is happy in having a kingdom to rule besides, I think I should like to go back to Kansas." "The silver shoes," said the good witch, "have wonderful powers, and one of the most curious things about them is that they can carry you to any place in the world in 3 steps, and each step will be made in the wink of an eye. All you have to do is knock the heels together 3 times and command the shoes to carry you wherever you wish to go." "If that is so," the child said joyfully, "holy shit. Don't. Thank God you're awake. Shit. To be perfectly honest, darling, it's taken all my willpower not to jump up and hug the ever living daylights out of you. But you ain't out of the woods just yet." "Yeah. You got injured while you were in the field. Not really sure the extent of the injuries just yet. More concerned with the fact that you weren't waking up right away. You were admitted last night, so about 12 hours ago." "No, I haven't been there that long. Was on a job and didn't find out till afterwards. I've been here about 6 of those 12 hours." "Now I understand why you got so goddamn angry at me when I was injured before. God, it's terrifying. I will say that your hospital stay is quite a bit more serious than mine was. But it's not really the time to talk about that either. More than anything, I'm just... I'm glad you're at least awake now. It's a real good sign. Plus, the fact that you're talking with me and seems like you're pretty coherent, that's a relief. I know I say it a lot, and it's not like it's a secret or anything, darling. But I love you. You are the light of my life, and this has been very hard for me. Every time one of us gets injured, it reminds me that what we have is special and precious. And as much as I would love to not have you go out into the field, I know that's where you want to be. That's where you feel like you're doing the best work you can in helping the world. And I can't pull you away from that just because I'm being selfish. All we can do is be as careful and professional as we can. And then if accidents or injuries happen, we just have to work through them. there's ever a time that you want us to retire, I'll be right there with you. Hmm? Oh, well, to pass the time, I was reading out loud. Also, to maybe, in case you were able to hear, I wanted you to hear a voice that you were used to. The voice of someone you love. So maybe you wouldn't feel so alone or scared. Or maybe you'd wake up faster. But that's just the romantic in me, I think. Hey, don't move around too much, sweetheart. You need to rest. You're on the road to recovery, but I think this one's gonna be a longer trip. It's all right. I ain't going nowhere. Besides, someone's got to tell Angela that you've woken up, even if you do fall asleep before she comes back around. So just rest, darling. I love you so goddamn much. You're gonna be okay. You want me to keep reading to you? Of course I will. If that is so, said the child joyfully, I will ask them to carry me back to Kansas at once. She threw her arms around the lion's neck and kissed him, patting his big head tenderly. Then she kissed the Tin Woodman, who was weeping in a way most dangerous to his joints. But she hugged the soft, stuffed body of the Scarecrow in her arms instead of kissing his painted face, and found that she was crying herself at this sorrowful parting from her loving comrades. Glinda the Good stepped down from her ruby throne to give the little girl a goodbye kiss, and Dorothy thanked her for all the kindness she had shown to her friends and herself. Dorothy now took Toto up solemnly in her arms, and having said one last goodbye, she clapped the heels of her shoes together 3 times, saying, "Take me home to Aunt Em." Instantly, she was whirling through the air, so swiftly that all she could see or feel was the wind whistling past her ears. The silver shoes took but 3 steps, and then she stopped so suddenly that she rolled over upon the grass several times before she knew where she was. At length, however, she sat up and looked about her. Good gracious, she cried, for she was sitting on the broad Kansas prairie, and just before her was the new farmhouse Uncle Henry built after the cyclone had carried away the old one. Uncle Henry was milking the cows in the barnyard, and Toto had jumped out of her arms and was running towards the barn, barking furiously. Dorothy stood up and found she was in her stocking feet, for the silver shoes had fallen off in her flight through the air and were lost forever in the desert. Chapter 24. Home Again. Aunt Em had just come out of the house to water the cabbages when she looked up and saw Dorothy running towards her. "My darling child," she cried, folding the little girl in her arms and covering her face with kisses. "Where in the world did you come from?" "From the land of Oz," said Dorothy gravely. "And here's Toto, too. And oh, Aunt Em, I'm so glad to be at home again." The end.